Welcome back. This is Today on eNCA. I'm Gareth Edwards. Dan Moyane is away for today's edition of the show. The African Security Congress is taking on Eskom, outlining what it calls an aggressive program of action against the utility for awarding, listen to this, a R500 million tender to the Fidelity Security Group. There are historical issues here, which is how we've ended up where we are at the moment. Let's bring into the conversation the president of the African Security Congress, Mr. Tebogo Motloung, making time for us. Tebogo, good to have you coming in. Appreciate it. What's the issue with the tender? R500 million, billion rand, I want to be clear, R500 million. But what's the concern with it?
Thank you, and how are you, Chair? I know many people are asking themselves the very same question. What are we concerned about here, and what is actually our interest in all this? Look, the African Security Congress, it's a political movement. Everybody knows that it's formed by security officers around the country, or better, the poor working class. So now, in issues such as this one, we make it our interest to go after them and actually seek answers or conclude into getting clarity in terms of these problems. Now, the Eskom has decided to give away a contract. I would say it's a giveaway because it's like lotto. You are winning a lotto and they give you away for free. So they decided to give and appoint an uncontested contract to the Fidelity Group. Now, in South Africa, anything that is worth between 500,000 and more in terms of contract, it should be advertised as a tender. And normal tendering processes must be followed.
Bidding, for example?
Yes, it must be bidded for. So, in this instance, one, the contract or the tender was never advertised. There are internal security companies that are working at Eskom as we speak. They do not know of such. It was not advertised, and they did not bid for it. But however, for some reasons, the CEO, the former CEO, Mr. Deruta, and the security manager at Eskom, Mrs. Pillay, and the operations manager, which is Jan Opelholzer, they both decided that they will award this contract to a particular company without all those processes being followed.
Did you ever get any clarity from either of them or their office when they were still there, Andre de Ruyter in this case? Did you ever try and get clarity from their office or from them why they gave the contract?
Before that, we liaised with an association called TAPSOSA. It's an association of businesses, businessmen coming together and form that association. So we liaised this with them, as to say, because you are in business in the security sector, we have concerns here. What is your take on that? Fortunately enough, they were able to stand up and fight for that internally, because some of them are also working there at Eskom in terms of contracting. Nobody gave them answers. Instead, Pillay told them she was going to give them the answers, but at the end of the day, answers were not provided to them, because even when she gave them that, no, this is what happened, still she could not answer as to say, when was this advertised, when it was bidded for, and how did you come to the conclusion that Security Fidelity should be the one getting this contract? Nobody can provide those answers. So we as African Security Congress are promising them one thing. We want these answers, and these answers must be there. If they are not there, heads should start rolling, because we want clarity from this thing. And Mrs. Pillay must be harshly suspended from this thing. She must be suspended pending this investigation. I cannot be in a position to understand that she's under investigation, but she's still working at Eskom. In the normal circumstances, she needs to be suspended so that she can be investigated. Also, the operations manager, Mr. Jan, he also must be suspended. And after all this thing, we are going to pursue a criminal case against them, because this is not just 1,000 or 10,000. This is 500 million. Nobody should be in a position to eat such money and go unquestioned. This money could have helped solve a lot of problems within the Eskom. The power utilities that are in Eskom are outdated. They need to get maintenance. Eskom is forever complaining that they do not have money to do such, but they have money to award uncontested contracts to individuals.
Do you think it was a knee-jerk reaction with the pressure they were under just to throw a lot of money? This is Eskom, just to throw a lot of money at the problem.
Again?
Do you think this was a knee-jerk reaction? an instant reaction. They didn't think about it, just threw a lot of money at one company just to make it look good that they're doing something about security?
Well, it's exactly what we also want to know, because we need to know what led to them taking this such decision. If, for instance, there was threats that Eskom is facing, why then appoint a contract for 3 months if there's a threat? Right. Why not a permanent contract that is going to eliminate that threat? Yeah. And if that threat has been resolved within these 3 months, then what happens with these people that were employed? Because it's also our concern. You can't just employ 400 armed security officers for 3 months. If that's the case, it means you must hugely compensate them. In terms of this money, when we do our own calculation, it then means one security officer was supposed to earn around 160,000. If we go and ask these people these questions, they did not merely even get close to 30,000 in terms of compensation.
Did you ever hear from Fidelity, the company that did get this in the end as well? Did you hear from them? Did you approach them for?
Yes, we actually did give them a call, but they could unfortunately not respond to us. We even sent numerous emails to them to say, look, we want clarity in terms of this thing. But nobody is interested to give us answer. That's why you took a decision. Look, let's go to the problem maker, because Eskom is the one who did this problem. Actually, my interest is not even with Fidelity as such. My interest is within the process that has taken place there. The corrupt activity. This is a corrupt activity that happened there. You can't just today wake up that here at eNCA we need more journalists, and we are not going to advertise work, but we will appoint our friends and work here. It's wrong. You need to follow all normal procedures in making sure that the appointment or the tendering system
it follows the protocol that's
everybody needs to follow that protocol.
Did Eskom, Tebogo, traditionally follow those protocols before this incident, or was there other instances like this?
No, before these instances, we have not heard of anything that is wrong that they did in the security sector, of course.
So
I don't know about these other contracts that was Eskom employ a huge number of businesses within it.
I want to ask about the press statement that I caught ear of while I was driving in, and tell me if this has been misconstrued. Part of the program of action for your organization will be the rolling out, will include mass mobilization, and ultimately the shutting down of Eskom to demand answers. Is that true?
Yes, fortunately enough, it's true. In fact, tomorrow morning we'll be having a march that is going to Eskom. We have already informed
Megawatt Park.
The Megawatts Park, yes, and here at Sunning Hill, if I'm correct. So we'll be there tomorrow morning at 9. The march will start at 9 until 10:30. Our objective in terms of that march is to hand over a memorandum to them and give them 7 to 14 days time to answer on our grievances. Their failure to answer to that will lead a march that is going to shut down Eskom up until there are answers in terms of this corrupt activity that has happened.
I think many people will agree, Tebogo, with the contract not being handled correctly. Are you not concerned this could be misconstrued as a threat against a national key point, against national infrastructure? I'm sure people understand the frustration. Are you not worried this could be misconstrued?
100% I'm not worried. This does not only affect me. People need to start understanding the angle that we are coming at with this thing. Firstly, had this 500 million been utilized to focus on the permanent problem that we have at Eskom, this is no longer a challenge, it's a problem. This thing of load shedding. This money could have been actually allocated to solve that problem. Today we will not be having people who have died from the load shedding. We will not have people who are suffering or getting problems because of this load shedding thing. People, they are losing their fridge and their TVs. Food is expiring in their fridge because of this load shedding. So if this money was allocated to that, this is a problem that affects all of us as normal citizens of South Africa.
I want to ask two brief questions, if we can, just before I say goodbye to Tebogo. So I think many people are taking your point. When you say shut down Eskom, are you suggesting that there's going to be no electricity? electricity? Or are you talking about shutting down Megawatt Park? I just want to be very clear on what you're saying.
No. Unfortunately, we can't shut down to an extent whereby there's no electricity. Okay. I will be now becoming a part of a problem also.
That's where I was going with it. I want to make sure I understand you.
When I say shut down, it means we're going to shut down. That office will be there every day, making sure that they do not come in and they do not go out.
So at the gates of Megawatt Park?
At the gates of Megawatt Park. The power utilities, no, unfortunately, we can't affect their operation. And we can't.
I was very worried that's where this was going, and I was like, I don't think this is going to end well for you.
It's only the people of South Africa that can take that decision. We say, look, let's go and shut down the operation entirely.
It's at 9 to 10:30 tomorrow morning. I'm sure it's something that we'll be following up on as well. Tebogo, thank you very much for coming in and speaking to us. Very unhappy about this R500 million contract paid over to Fidelity Services. Wasn't done properly, according to African Security Congress President Tebogo Motloung. If you agree, then please, you're welcome to get hold of us on Twitter. Tweet us. It's at eNCA. My thanks to Tebogo for coming in this afternoon.